organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV, find out what student government is doing to make sure you have an easier finals week.
And in sports, we'll tell you everything you need to know about Saturday's game against Penn State in our weekly Daily Iowan TV pregame.
That and more is coming your way next.
Daily Iowan TV starts now. Thanks for tuning in to your Thursday edition of Daily Iowan TV, your television news, sports, and weather source for the Daily Iowan. I'm Reed Chandler.
And I'm Josh Bolander. Some UI graduate students might have a harder time paying for college next year due to upcoming changes in the federal loan programs. Starting next July, students with federal Stafford loans will have to start paying interest while in school. Currently, the government makes those payments on subsidized loans, but that will change in order to free up funding for the federal Pell Grant program. The changes could cost UI students a total of $2 million a year, but experts say the national savings will come out to nearly $32 billion over the next 10 years. The University of Iowa student government is in the process of trying to limit the number of tests the university can issue on the same day during finals weeks. Currently, students can get an exception if they have 4 or more tests on the same day, but UI/SG officials say that's unfair. I sat down with a few UI students earlier to see how they feel about the issue.
While the months of October, November, and December may have students of the University of Iowa transfixed on the Big Ten football schedule, or looking ahead to Fran McCaffrey's new run-and-gun basketball squad, many have overlooked a message from the UI/SG calling for less multiple test days for students during finals week, something most students would probably agree with.
All my time in the library, and then if you're studying for more than one final at a time, you get confused between the information.
UI/SG President Elliot Higgins is pushing the university for the ending of a 3 or more finals on a given day policy, claiming that requiring students to take 3 or more tests on the same day is unfair and that students subjected to this are given inadequate time to prepare for their exams.
One time I had a couple finals in one day, and going to class all day and then trying to work and study at the same time is really stressful on a student.
It remains to be seen whether Higgins and other members of the University of Iowa student government can force the hand of UI officials, with test dates and times already set. However, for the students' sake, an effort is being made.
UI/SG's main claim is that if the goal of finals is to gauge a student's knowledge in a certain area, it would be better for students and faculty if the test taker was required to only take 2 finals on the same day.
Rural Iowa women may be at higher risk for domestic abuse. A recent UI study published in the Journal of Women's Health shows that urban women experience approximately 1.5 times less intimate partner violence than those living in less populated regions. Researchers suggest that because of scarce domestic violence resources in rural areas, many women experiencing violence find it harder to seek help. Experts also say that living in isolation also makes the abuse easier to hide. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, you can call the Domestic Violence Intervention Program at the number on your screen.
Thursday, the UI announced its winners of the Michael J. Brody Award for Faculty Excellence. Professors David Drake, Tanya Peoples, and Madeline Shea were recognized for their outstanding contributions to the university and the Iowa City community. All 3 recipients will be formally recognized at a banquet hosted by the Provost's office and will also receive $1,000 and a commemorative object designed by a graduate art student. The award was established in 1990 in memory of Professor Michael J. Brody.
An Iowa City man is being charged with assaulting police officers after initially being arrested for drunk driving. On Wednesday, 30-year-old Jerry Jones was taken to the Iowa City Police Department on suspicion of drunk driving. Reports show that once at the station, Jones became irate and began spitting and swearing and tried to kick an officer. No one was injured, but Jones is being charged with OWI and assaulting a police officer. And now Daily Iowan TV's Nick Fetty joins us in the studio for a look at your local weather forecast. And Nick, we've had nice weather all week. Can we expect that to continue?
Well, Reed, it looks like this nice summer weather will stick around for another couple of days. It's almost too bad this week's football game isn't at home because we're going to see some beautiful tailgating weather this weekend. You can expect a mild walk to class tomorrow morning with partially cloudy skies and temps in the upper to mid-60s. Around lunchtime, things will warm up considerably with a midday high of 83 degrees. Friday night will cool down again. You can expect clear skies and about 70 degrees. Looking ahead at the extended forecast, Saturday will be another unusually warm October day with sunny skies and a high of 83 degrees. Temps will dip into the 70s as we head into next week with a 40% chance of rain on Wednesday. That's your check at the weather. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Nick. And only with Daily Iowan TV can you get a sneak peek at Friday's pages of the Daily Iowan. Read about the increasing number of nurses receiving their PhDs. Plus, the Daily Iowan takes a look at the surprisingly low numbers of lawyers in the Iowa legislature.
And it's been almost 2 weeks since the last football game, but not to worry, Saturday is almost here. And to get you set, we have everything you need to know in our weekly breakdown that we call Daily Iowan Pregame.
All right, thanks, Reed. Welcome into Daily Iowan TV Pregame. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jake Abrams.
And I'm Chelsea Bird, and we're here ready to kick off Big Ten coverage this season as Iowa travels to Penn State to take on the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, that's right. But first, some unfortunate news reached Kirk Ferentz. Backup quarterback A.J. Derby was arrested earlier this week after punching a bus window. He's going to miss 2 games. He's suspended. Here's what that means.
He'll practice on the unlook team. That's usually, there are 2 kinds of suspensions, I guess. One where you're banished, and then the other is where you'll just, work on the look teams and over the weekend, do community service, those types of things. And, no one pay your price. And when you're done, you're done. We go back to work.
Heading into Happy Valley, the Black and Gold face a Lion legend in Joe Paterno. It's his 62nd season on the Penn State coaching staff. Since taking over as head coach in 1966, Joe Pa has 405 wins and 136 losses. Kirk Ferentz and company know Paterno is in a special class that only a few are included in, including one of Iowa's own.
I don't think there are many coaches that have impacted college sports more than Coach Paterno in any sport. And, you think about a guy we have on campus here, Dan Gable. That's, a pretty small class that he's in. Throw out names like Bear Bryant, John Wooden. There aren't many. It's pretty small discussion. So, it just kind of adds to everything. But, you try not to be, you're not focused on that, certainly when you're on the game field.
Now, Penn State has always been strong defensively, but this year they rank in the top 10 in pass efficiency defense, pass defense, scoring defense, total defense. They ranked in the top 10 in it all. Needless to say, this is going to be one of the toughest defense the Hawkeyes are going to have to go up against in a long time.
And they've got depth in that front, good size, athleticism. They play well, and they've got a lot of depth. And then the veteran players in the back end, they're giving up 12 points a game as a result of it. And that's not new. I mean, it's just kind of rotation. A couple of years ago they had really outstanding linebackers. Now they're in a little bit of a transition there, the younger guys. But and they lost a very good player to an injury, one of their linebackers. But at the end of the day, they always put a good defense together. That's, like I said, it's been since the late '60s. It just continues.
And now for more on Penn State's strong start defensively, we bring in Steve Petrella on the phone line, football editor from the Daily Collegian in State College. Now, Steve, this defense ranks in the top 10 in pretty much every category. Is there anything different this season from past seasons regarding the defense?
I think that's the kind of good thing about Penn State's defense is everything always remains constant. You got the linebacker title, and that battle for the last decade since I've been following Penn State football, it's always been there. And this year's no different, even though they lost.
Now, Iowa is 5 for 9 against Penn State since they've joined the Big Ten. And Iowa has opened up the Big Ten season 4 times against Penn State, winning all 4. Are people on campus afraid to play Kirk Ferentz the way things have gone in the past few years?
Yeah, it's interesting because, there's something about Iowa, and we always talk about it. But I think people are more excited than scared. I think these seniors, since they've been playing, have never beaten Iowa. I think everybody's kind of excited, because Penn State never beats Iowa, at least, from what my generation has seen. And I think people think that Penn State really has a shot this year.
Yeah, Steve, as you know, this season Iowa has been strong offensively and Penn State, has been strong defensively. What's it going to take for Penn State to win this game on Saturday?
You know, it really all comes down to the quarterback because, as it has all year, because the defense is going to be strong. You know, the defense isn't going to give up much, but the offense just hasn't clicked in a real game. I mean, Alabama, they had very little success moving the ball, and even against Temple and Indiana, they could not move the ball.
All right, Steve, so who's going to win, and what is your final score prediction?
I'm going to say Penn State's going to win 18-14. Anthony Fair is going to have 4 field goals, and that's about it.
All right, calling 4 field goals. Bold move. All right, that was Steve Petrella from the Daily Collegian. Thanks, Steve. Now, Chelsea, Steve told us what Penn State had to do to win that game. What does Iowa need to do to win this game on Saturday?
Well, you know, Jake, this year it's going to have to be a little different from years in the past. In the past, Iowa's been able to rely on different aspects of their game, such as the special teams in 08 and defensive takeaways in 09. But this year, it's going to have to be a whole team effort. Vandenberg and the offense are going to have to put points up, while the defense need to be ready for both of Penn State's quarterbacks.
Yeah, now let's talk a little more about opening conference play. Overall, Iowa is 5-7 under Ferentz in Big Ten openers. And like we said earlier, 4 of those wins have come against Penn State.
Yeah, and that's right. If you flash back to 2002, that overtime win against the Nittany Lions to open up conference play started their run to a near-perfect season, and I'm sure the Hawks are trying to go back to that this year.
Yeah, and with 1 week of Big Ten play finished, let's take a look at our Daily Iowan TV Power Rankings. At number 12, we have Minnesota, who's off to a shaky 1-4 overall start. They got clobbered by Michigan last week. At 11, we have Indiana. They have the same record. Purdue didn't play last week, but we'll throw them in at number 10.
And although I'm scared of the Wildcats when they come to Iowa City next week, because we know what they can do when the pressure's on, we have them at number 9.
Yeah, I'm scared of Northwestern also, but I never thought I'd say this one. Ohio State is at number 8. They still have a ton to figure out as they play the first ever Big Ten game in Memorial Stadium this weekend.
Number 7 is who the Hawks go up again this weekend. We'll put Iowa at 6, Michigan State at 5, and since the Huskers got whopped last weekend, we have them at 4, and then Illinois at 3.
Who would have thought? Michigan at 2, and the powerhouse of them all in the Big Ten, we have Bucky and the Badgers at number 1.
And man, do they have a quarterback in Madison this year. If you disagree with our picks, post your own on our Facebook page at Daily Iowan TV Sports.
All right, well, that's going to wrap it up. Hawkeyes and Nittany Lions set for 2:30 on ABC. I'm Jake Abrams.
And I'm Chelsea Byrne. This has been Daily Iowan TV pregame. Have a great night.